Howdy, everybody, and welcome to the next heart-wrenching chapter of Dreams of Infinity. I am Matthew R. Dawson, your friendly neighborhood host and magic keeper, and joining me around my virtual table tonight are Ashleyien, Hana, John, Kira, and Los. Say hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
They are very good at that. Now, before we begin, we do have a few announcements to get through, starting with the first of our two sponsors for tonight's show, HeroForge. HeroForge offers fully customizable tabletop minis with dozens of fantasy species and thousands of parts to choose from. Their easy-to-use design tool lets you build your perfect miniature online using a fully 3D in-depth character creator right in your web browser, which is where we built the tokens for this game. You can build yours today at HeroForge.com. Our second sponsor for tonight's show is XSplit. XSplit is a high-quality virtual webcam background remover that works with your already existing webcam. You can use this program to protect your privacy while you work or play remotely by blurring the background, removing it entirely, or even putting your favorite picture as the background instead. You can download the app today at xsplit.com, and if you use the coupon code RANDOM with a capital R, you can get 10% off of your purchase. You can find our referral link in the show description. Last but not least, this Monday, Random Rhapsody will not be airing. We're going to be doing our Session 0 for our brand new campaign, Ether Shanties. That episode is going to be released online the following Monday, the 8th. At which point, after that, we will be playing our brand new Aethertech Wars campaign, which is a Pathfinder 2e game. Now you can keep up to date on everything we're doing by following us on Facebook as Random Rhapsody TV and on Twitter as @random_Rhapsody. Also on Blue Sky as @Random Rhapsody. And that's going to do it for the announcements. So join us as we return to Loropa City and continue on with the Magi-Knights as they investigate the Dreams of Infinity. And we're back. So, you should know how we do our recaps by now. We offer up the Random Rhapsody coin, which can be redeemed for one free reroll during the session. If I get the coin by doing the recap, I'm definitely going to use it. Nobody really wants me to use it, so somebody always volunteers to do the recap. Who's going to be doing it today?
Hi.
Okay. Well, Aisha, tell us what happened last time on Dreams of Infinity.
What good is power if we can't keep our promises? I promised Cacophony I wouldn't let him die. But no matter how much I change, I can't keep my promises. I led us here with my overconfident choices. What a fool I was for touching that crystal just to try and make a rhetorical point. We were undercover and I blew it. My choices led to Cacophony's death. Every choice I made in the restaurant Imperial was foolhardy. eating the food that clearly was tainted and corrupting the people around us. I need to pay more attention. I need to stop failing my friends. Cacophony led us. He was the last remaining member of the Nighty Knights, a final hero borrowing time that was already borrowed. We were investigating a lead without properly using his expertise, just following our guts. The fight was a mess. We were separated. We were overwhelmed. Mind-warped restaurant goers, a colossal crab-like outsider, Soul Seeker's crystal is all but shattered. We were all beaten up. We couldn't do anything. I almost died before it even began. Half of us came out with more cracks on our soul crystal than we know what to do with. Cacophony saved us. Cacophony saved us at the cost of his life. Every time we almost go down, we hear the Wanderer's voice. I only wonder what Cacophony heard in his last moments. A word popped into my head. Soul oblation. Before the restaurant exploded, that's what happened. A final burst of power to inspire us to keep the fight alive and take down everything surrounding him. Cacophony tossed us out and we rushed back in blindly. As the restaurant exploded, it took all the last of my magic to protect Soul Seeker and Sky Seeker. I don't even know what's happened to Nova or Blossom Seeker. I can't let anyone else die. My heart hurts and is heavy, but things are not over. Restaurant Imperial is on fire and we have to rescue his body. Have to make sure that the crystal oozing black darkness is destroyed. Have to get out of here. We have to keep fighting. We can't give up now. We can't let him down. We escaped death to be here. We cannot let his death be in vain.
Okay. Well, there you go. There is the Random Rhapsody coin. Don't forget to use it. It's only going to last today. Well, Magi-Knights. Most of you are now just beginning to pick yourselves up off the ground from as you were just blown to your feet by a wave of force unlike anything any of you have ever felt before. As you pick yourselves up off the ground, you look towards this horrific scene that's before you. The windows of the former church building / current fine dining establishment known as Restaurant Imperial have all been blown outward by that explosive force, which was aided, by the gas fire that went off at the same time. The building is partially ablaze, though it is made out of stone, and there is a shower of fine glass shards and debris raining down all around you. From inside of the building, you can hear the shrill sound of a fire alarm ringing out into the cloudy night sky. Soul Seeker, Sky Seeker, and Star Seeker, you three are all at the back loading dock of the restaurant. The back door to the kitchen was blown off from the force of the explosion and is lying a few feet away from you, and you can all just make out through that open doorway the sprinkler system activating with a while the three of you push yourselves up, trying to recover your breath after the wind was knocked out of you. Blossom Seeker, you likewise have been knocked off your feet, and you have the wind knocked out from you as well. You were being chased by the Mater D cultist before that explosion, but as you look around, you can see that that cultist is on the ground as well, seemingly unconscious and not moving. As for you, Nova Seeker, you had been protected from most of that force of the explosion in the kitchen, since you had taken cover behind the bathroom door, which is like just kind of in between you and that whole scene. But because you held this back and you're still on your feet, you really are the first person who's able to react to what's happened. You tentatively open the door, which very nearly falls off of his hinges as you move it, revealing a dining room with little of its original features remaining intact. Tables and chairs are overturned or destroyed. Curtains and tapestries are on fire right now, as well as like some tablecloths and things like that. But remember, the building itself was made out of stone, so while the force of the blast did ignite things on fire, it's not like all of the walls and everything is currently ablaze. But it could get to that point if it weren't for the fact that nearly a moment later, the sprinkler system activates in the dining room as well, spraying the whole scene with water. Now, you can see pools of water and leftover food on the ground. You can see that there are quite a few people on the ground as well. The old man behind you, who was the bathroom attendant, in there with you, he's kind of just shaking in fright as he sits on his stool next to the sink. And he doesn't seem to be inclined to move at the moment. No doubt due to the grisly scene beyond your place at the door. As I said, there are a lot of unconscious bodies lying everywhere. Many are the cultists you had fought. Others, unlucky patrons who are too caught up with eating to had noticed the battle and are now just kind of in a pile against the back walls and stuff like that. You're not quite sure what happened to the rest of your friends. You know that they were fighting at one point when you had to close the door. You know that now that you're looking through that door, you can see the destroyed walls and the door leading into the kitchen, and you can see that giant crustacean quite clearly over there. The outsider is beginning to dissolve. He's beginning to drift away into just a scintillation of light. So, you know the thing is destroyed. So, while the rest of the Magi-Knights are recovering, you do have a moment to act first. So, Nova Seeker, what would you like to do?
Do I get the sense that there's any other danger at all? Do I see anybody who has survived it that is still, looking for one of us, or no?
You can either make a perception check to scan the area, or you can make a mysticism check, grasping your crystal to see if you can sense any more.
Okay. I'm going to make a mysticism check. So 21.
Grabbing onto your crystal, the first thing you do notice is that the light in it is starting to fade. With your 21, you cannot sense any more of that spectral energy that the outsiders tend to radiate outward, that interacts with your crystal. And in fact, that little tentacle of the tendril of energy that had been leeching off of you during the meal is nowhere about you as well. It's gone as well. Okay. With the knowledge that your crystal is fading, you know that you're going to have to concentrate from here on out to maintain your armor if you wish to maintain it. But from those things, you do know that, at least for the moment, the threat is no more.
Okay. I guess the second thing I'll do, knowing that, is while I still have my armor and augmented abilities and all that, just try to save as many people as I can that look savable, if that makes sense. So, like, if anyone's in danger of something, catching on fire or what have you, I'll just start either, like, moving them or lifting Like if anyone's pinned under anything, I'll move those things while I still have my armor on, and just this like desire to make sure people are okay.
Okay. I'd like you to make me an athletics check with advantage. You can see the people that you had fought, and it is easy to differentiate between those and the people who have just been gluttonously stuffing their faces. Most of them are kind of piled up along the walls and stuff in this area towards the south eastern side of the building. So it isn't too hard to pick them out. Go ahead and tell me your roll.
That's a nat 20.
Yeah.
Where the hell was that last time?
Without issue, you go running over, start checking people, grabbing them and dragging them outside. As you're doing that, you do notice that in the kitchen there is one person who is standing up right now. They seem to be crouched over it. It's that there's a guy in a hood, a hooded cloak, dark purple cloak that's just kind of kneeling down, almost Batman-like, in the middle of the kitchen.
Do I recognize it from that time I saw somebody at the stadium, or was that too dark?
That was too dark to tell, and okay. You are focused more on grabbing all of these people and getting them out. So this is just something you noticed at the same time.
I'm gonna yell at him, "Hey, I could use a hand."
Okay. While that's going on, while Nova Seeker is beginning to drag out bodies, I imagine they've just got one over each shoulder and are like firemen carrying them out. Melody, Soul Seeker, Sky Seeker, Star Seeker, and Blossom Seeker. The four of you would begin to pick yourselves up once again. What would you do at that point?
Wordlessly, I'm gonna run into the restaurant and see if the crystal on the wall is still there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd run back inside too.
I would probably, because you said last time with the explosion that all the windows were busted out, right?
Mm-hmm. Except for the bathroom windows, but all the others.
Both ones? Okay.
Well, actually, one probably is open. This one probably close to you would be.
I'm probably going to jump back in then with that and go inside to see if I can help Nova Seeker, because I remember he was still in there.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to run inside and help who I can help.
Absolutely. Well, Blossom Seeker, you can easily jump up and climb in through that window. I'm not going to make you make a roll for it because you're still maintaining your hold on your Magi-Knight form as well. And you would hurry through the bathroom. This is the girls' bathroom. It's a little more destroyed than the guys because there wasn't Nova Seeker there to hold the door closed. So
yeah.
But making your way through the slightly damaged bathroom, you would come out into the dining room to see Nova Seeker carrying people out from the restaurant. The fire is slowly starting to be controlled by the sprinklers at this point. It's not in danger of burning down or anything like that because, like I said, it is a stone building. But the features inside of it are on fire. Those, sure. Like I said, slowly starting to be put out a little bit by the sprinklers. As for you three ladies, as you make your way into the kitchen, you would spot that cloaked individual as well, who seems to be kneeling down in front of David. He stands up the moment the three of you burst into the kitchen, and you can't see much of his face. Aisha, I know you said, or Starseeker, you said you wanted to check out the crystal. Give me a investigation check as you go hurrying over to that. But the other two of you, if you'd like, you can make a perception check to check out this hooded figure.
Yes.
Okay. Starseeker, what'd you get?
I got a 13.
Skyseeker
15.
and Soulseeker.
14.
Okay. Starseeker, I'm going with you first. You go moving over to the crystal, and you can see that the crystal is beginning to dissolve as well. By this time, the outsider has disappeared. The last of its essence drifting away into the ether. And the blackened crystal that had been growing over there in the corner is starting to dissolve as well. It's a slow process. It's almost like watching pixels drift away from a picture. It's just these tiny little ethereal flashes of light, like almost dust caught in a sunbeam, twinkling away as the thing begins to dissolve. Soul and Skyseeker. The individual standing there next to David's unconscious or lying prone form, he is wearing a hooded cloak. His body is clad in a similarly grayish purple outfit. Long coat, buttoned up down the center of it. You can't see much of the features of his face. He's wearing these really big goggles, like almost steampunk style goggles or welder's goggles, over his eyes that flash with this kind of greenish tint of a light. The rest of his face is long and angular with kind of pursed lips as though he's scowling just a little bit. But there's also this odd sort of distortion about his face. It like... Oh. Have you ever seen the show The Magicians? There's this bad guy whose face was just kind of like blurred and distorted, almost as like all the just around his face, it was like a blur was there. That's kind of what this looks like. Just every so often, the image around his face just kind of shifts and looks like a static on his screen. That makes it hard to really get a good approximation of his features. However, the thing in his hand is very, very clearly visible. It is a long-barreled rifle with a scope and a long, I can't remember the name of it. The shoulder thing on it, the butt of the rifle, a very long butt of the rifle, as well.
Stock.
Thank you, Stock. As he's standing there, you see Nova Seeker and Blossom Seeker are beginning to pick up bodies and start making... They've already made one trip out of the restaurant, and they're currently grabbing some for a second. But then you notice that the cloaked gunman lifts up his weapon very quickly, and before anyone can react, fires. Not at any of you, however. He fires towards Nova Seeker. Nova Seeker, you're standing there and you hear this and you turn suddenly, looking for whatever is attacking you, and you see behind you, creeping up behind you, was that old man from the bathroom with a knife in his hand. He's hit immediately, and you see red blossoming on his shirt as he just crumples to the ground. That's not an energy weapon he just fired. But that attendant was about to stab you in the back. Who's the first person to react after that?
I think I'm shocked. I thought the attendant.
I'd probably run up and check on him.
Isn't anybody a good guy?
Medicine check.
Thank you for moving my token.
Just
You're
an
welcome.
8. I'm probably frazzled still from everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of blood coming out of that guy's shoulder right now. You start hyperventilating and freaking out. You're fairly certain this guy's about to die.
Just put pressure on it, I guess. Don't know what else to do.
Can I run toward the guy in the cloak?
You certainly can.
Okay, I'm gonna run over and say, hey, you can't just go killing people like that.
The gunman looks at you, and you see him lifting his weapon for a second, but he just kind of shoulders it. After a moment's, terror that he was aiming towards you, he just shoulders it and shrugs.
Say, thanks for having Nova Seekers back, but we prefer to just put them out of commission, not kill them.
You can either make a it's a persuasion or an influence check.
I'll probably do persuasion. $15.
With your 15, the individual looks at you, and after a moment, he shrugs again, and he says, I'll keep that in mind. I'll keep that in mind. I'll keep that in mind. Keep that in mind.
I love technology.
Just the look on your face. Just the looks on your face. I love it.
I think Melody would have the same expression, just look shocked, like, not even know what to say.
Starseeker's gonna say, let's get as many people out as we can. I'll carry Cacophony as she walks over to his body.
He's David now, right?
He is David right now. His Magi-Knight armor has completely disappeared. He's still back in his school uniform. His body looks bruised and battered, and slightly singed from the fire, but at the same time, his eyes are closed, and there's a peaceful expression on his face. As you're crouching down to pick him up, you watch as the gunman begins walking over towards the crystal that is slowly starting to dissolve. Starseeker, you said that you were going to go help everybody, drag everybody out. So you do pass him by as you watch him moving towards that. Does anybody do anything else, or are they just going to be working to pull people out?
I'm tempted to ask him, who are you? But I don't think he's going to answer.
He's probably way taller than me, but when we're walking by each other, at the moment, at the end of that one JoJo gif, if you know what I mean, she would try to look past the blur.
Okay, that's going to be a mysticism check.
Cool. Extra bad at those now.
Where's his token?
I moved it.
Hey, I rolled a 6.
He's next
It's
to...
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you're trying to see anything about him, but his whole face is just a blur to you.
How are you blurry?
As you're passing by, though, and you glance up at him, he does look at you for half a second, And what he says to you is this. You might want to get out of here before the cops show up. I doubt any of you want to be answering a lot of awkward questions. Now, do you?
No. Can you teach me how to do that with my voice?
Probably.
I'm gonna run out. I'd like to do a quick check to make sure that anyone that was in like immediate danger is no longer in danger.
Mm-hmm.
The people that I was trying to help.
Okay, that's going to be a perception check.
Okay. Whoops. Sorry. Let me turn off the advantage thing. Should I take the lower or the higher of the roll, or re-roll
you would take the first one, and
so that's a 9.
With your 9, like it, your friends are now beginning to help you. Everybody has gone over there. I believe Melody's carrying David, or was it somebody's carrying
Aisha.
David? Aisha's carrying David.
Yeah.
While the rest of your friends are starting to come out and drag people out as well. People are less in immediate danger at this point, as they are unconscious and, well, I mean, there is water coming down, so you probably want to get them out of that. That way they don't drown or anything. But through working together, while this individual seems to be clattering around the kitchen for a few minutes, you all drag those who are the most in danger out of danger.
Okay. I'm gonna call out then. I'm gonna go get the car. I'll meet y'all. I think the parking lot's in the back, right?
The parking lot you all had to park at was one in the back, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sam, I'm gonna go get the car started, and run out to the parking lot and start the car. And I think we should leave David's body. I don't think we should take it.
We might have to explain why we're carrying around a body if we take it.
Yeah, that's kind of my point. Like, what are we going to do with it? I think it sucks, but there's a lot of bodies here, and one more isn't going to make a difference. I think as much as it sucks, like, I think I'm in shock, and I'm just, like, focused on getting out of here and say, leave the body, let's go.
The Wanderer appears next to you all, and he says, we'll have time for mourning later. This is horrible what happened, but we do need to get out of here before the police show up. I'm sure there's going to be an investigation, and I agree. David's body should be left here.
Just couldn't leave it in that kitchen. Had to at least bring him outside.
Yes.
I'm going to have to do some mental manipulation to make the stories add up, but we'll make sure that everybody is taken care of and make sure that people get to the hospital and all that. Good news is a lot of those people out there are still alive. They're just unconscious. Now, before we leave, we should gather up what gloom gems are here. That was a very big creature, and if you don't grab them now, you might not have time to come back later.
Mm-hmm. Is Blur Guy gonna leave?
Yes, actually, you do see him. You've been dragging people out, and by the time the crystal has disappeared, the gunman, you do see him walking out towards the back kitchen door. He does, that anime tuxedo mask thing where he swirls the cape backwards with one hand before tipping a hand to his forehead and walking away.
So if he's going past me to get to the door, right? Can I try a mysticism check to see if I can see through the blur?
Okay, go for it.
Okay.
I try as well.
You both can if you want to. This is a high DC roll you're making, just to let you know.
No, my mysticism isn't great, but
18. It's probably too little, right?
Here's what I'm gonna tell you, Melody. As this individual is walking by, there's just something about his walk. You've seen it before. It does seem familiar to you. But at the same time, you feel something in your mind, like it's almost as though something is specifically pushing the identity away. It's like right on the tip of your tongue, but the moment you think you know who it is, it kind of slips past you.
Okay.
Can I ask a question about gloom gems?
Yes.
So I feel like in previous fights we did not go over like, oh, look at these gems that are on the ground. Like it was just kind of assumed that we picked them up.
So it's not exactly.
Okay.
Not exactly.
Help me understand.
So what it is you have a special crystal that allows you to draw the remaining spectral energy out of areas that had outsiders and their minions there. You're basically drawing this leftover energy that's the remains of the spectral outsiders and converting that into gloom gem energy.
Okay. Is that related? Can that be related to the mysticism check I did earlier, where I was like checking for danger, or is it a very specific like?
This is a mini game that we're doing. We're getting past the RP, and then I'm going to talk about what we're doing.
Gotcha. And then, quick question about the old man that came up to me with a knife. Was he under the influence of like dark spectral energy, or was he just a crazy dude coming to stab me? Because I'm a little shocked that on a 21 mysticism, I missed that.
There's a very good chance that you're sitting there thinking about that, and it doesn't add up. If he was a cultist, would he have had some sort of remaining energy off of him? Or was he simply a devoted follower that didn't actually have any power of his own?
Okay.
Probably the latter.
Gotcha.
Now, as far as grabbing gloom gems, what everybody does is they pull out their crystal, and we're going to be doing some rolls here. So let me turn off this sad music for 1 second, and we're going to do this. So here's how gloom gems work. Let me actually pop up that handout for you. There you go. So the inert spectral energy is energy left behind by the cultists or the outsiders when they're defeated. That lingering energy is changed from that ethereal byproduct into a solid and crystallized one by the Magi-Knights, which are called gloom gems. You draw it using the special crystal that you were given at the beginning of the game, which everybody just automatically has, and you roll based on what the rating was for these critters. So there were 5 main cultists in this place. Each one is worth a 1d4. There is the mind-controlled humans. Those don't have as much spectral energy outside. Each grouping gives you just 1 gloom gem, but there are 4 of them, so we're getting 4. The crystal remains in the kitchen, the one that's just dissolved. That is worth 1d8. And Hugh Yeklam, the voracious gourmand, the outsider you had just defeated, is worth 4d8. We have a total of 5d8, or 5d8s to roll and 5d4 to roll. So everyone gets to roll 1 of each.
An 8 and a 4?
Mm-hmm. Add up the total, and then we multiply that by 1 plus reputation level, which is just going to be a 1.
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
Ooh, nice melody. I should change.
Did everyone roll?
You need one more 1d8 melody.
No, Melody had it earlier.
Yep,
6.
she did.
Oh, did she?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I see it now. Haha.
How did
Okay.
you roll both at the same time?
By typing it
That's
out.
the-
I guess
Added
it doesn't
them.
matter.
/
Oh,
roll
I see.
space 1d8 plus.
Okay.
Okay, so now that everybody's rolled, who here is proficient in mysticism?
Me.
That it? Okay.
Yeah.
Then, you get to re-roll one of those dice that have been rolled. I would recommend re-rolling the Starseeker's D8.
Yes, that is my
Me
choice.
too.
Do I roll it?
Yeah. Well, it honestly doesn't matter, so I don't really care. Hana can re-roll it, or you can re-roll it. It doesn't matter to me.
Okay, I'll let Hana do it because I don't want to be held responsible.
I don't want to be held responsible. Never mind, I want to be held responsible. That's pretty decent.
Yeah, that's good.
So our reputation level is 0, right? So it's just a 1. So we're adding the 1 plus the 2
Yep.
die
It's just a
rolls.
total.
Yep, which is
Yeah,
a total of 39 plus 4, so that would be 43 gloom gems.
Sweet.
I'm gonna start setting up for an armor rune.
Ash, I see that you said you don't know if you just subtracted your gloom gems.
I don't know if I took off the ones that I used to pay for the potions or not.
So
I think we had 50 before.
Okay.
I have 38 and I bought lesser mana one and the lesser healing, so whatever that is.
Okay. I have 38 and I bought mending and a clarity.
Yeah, that sounds accurate.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
you did
yeah. Okay.
subtract them.
There you go.
Thank you. Just I had
And
a
you
lot,
said
so I was
43, right?
Yeah, 43.
I typed
Okay.
it in the chat just in case.
Thank you.
So do we all get 43 or
Yeah, everyone does.
Okay, got it.
We can buy more potions. I mean, whatever they're shards.
You absolutely can.
I'm saving for an armor
Wait.
rune.
I don't know about runes.
Me too.
But
I can't
those you don't
remember
get
if I
till
used
level
my-
3.
They take a lot.
They can. It's like 150 plus, I think, for
Wow.
certain. Some of them are higher than that, up to 300, I think.
I'm gonna have to take a look at that.
Well, now that gloom gems have been collected, by this time you all start hearing that police siren in the distance. Which means that chances are the cops are going to be here soon. So, Damian goes and grabs their car, and everyone comes piling in, and you make your getaway. Not more than a couple minutes before police and ambulance arrive on the scene. It is kind of late in the evening at this point. It's just barely 9 o'clock. And I imagine all of you are feeling exhausted. Do you do anything else before you make your way home for the evening?
No.
Okay.
I think I'm just dropping everybody off.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still kind of in shock of what happened. Almost dying again.
I imagine so. I imagine all of you have a lot of heavy emotions weighing on your mind as Damian drops you off into your home one by one. There's that smell of food and wetness from the sprinklers, the smoke and the fire of the explosion that hit you all. It is, no doubt, troubling as you make your ways into your homes. Sleep. Yeah, go ahead.
Is there residue of the dark energy that hit me when I was in my student form still clinging to my clothes now that I'm de-transformed?
It actually isn't. Everything has dissolved away now that black crystal had been destroyed. It's kind of easy to extrapolate as you all think about it that the tendrils of energy that was being leached off of those who had eaten were being pumped into that crystal and was causing it to grow. And that's probably why they were feeding all of these people, collecting that energy for unknown reasons. Now, I imagine all of you get to bed very quickly. You're exhausted, you're battered, you're beaten, you're black and blue and bruised. And many of you, or pretty much all of you, had at least one crystal shard shatter. Most of you more. You do go to sleep. And the next morning when you wake up, you find that it is Thursday, August the 29th. Everyone has healed up from the previous evening's ordeal, at least a little bit. Most of you have several of your fractures restored to you. Your hit points have been restored. We'll kind of go over that in a little bit. But you all wake up feeling exhausted and emotionally drained. And for good reason. The news reports in the morning talk about a terrible gas explosion at Restaurant Imperial that injured at least 35 people. It's also recorded that there was one confirmed fatality, though the report doesn't release any names. It does say, however, that the restaurant is going to be closing indefinitely. Not long before you all have to get ready for school, each of your guardians or in Salem's case, themselves, are contacted by the school counselor, Dr. Bruce. And you are all offered bereavement time away from the school to deal with the loss of your friend. It is revealed to your guardians that David Copeland lost his life in a tragic gas fire accident at a restaurant the night before. And no doubt everyone who knows him will be distraught. While your group has only really been palling around with David for a few days now, the school is aware of your association together. So the offer stands for anyone who wants to take it. My next question is, does anybody actually choose to go back to school immediately?
I do.
Salem does?
Salem's gonna stick with routine. It's kind of just what he does and how he handles it.
Yeah, Damian is as well, because he doesn't want to be alone. I think not knowing what else to do, he just goes to school and throws himself into school.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Melody would too.
Yeah, I think Cat too.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, but like we only knew him for a couple of days, so like I don't know. I think I'm more in shock. Well, you know, we can get into it later, but yeah, and I'm shocked at the lack of like emotional response, and it's more just kind of numbness and logic leading Damian's decision making right now.
That is fair. Throughout your day, which we're not going to go through in a whole lot of detail, because to be honest, for all of you, the day seems to kind of go by in a blur. People around school are obviously talking about a student being killed in a local restaurant. The teachers in classes that David was with all say something at the beginning of class, talking about David and his academic success in school, how he'll be a missed individual walking down the halls. Talk amongst students is kind of varied, the same way as your group. Not a lot of people knew David. David tended to keep to himself for the most part, though occasionally he would have groups of people kind of congregate around him. But for the most part, other than your group and a handful of others, most of the talk is just, oh, that kind of sucks. It's a bummer that kid died, but they continue on with their school days as well. Kat, I do see your question. Damian, I see your hand raised. What you got?
Are you going to answer the question first, or
I was wondering if it's the same question.
No. I'd like to keep an eye out for Lacey. See if I see her around.
Okay. So for is Ronan around school? Anyone who is actively interested in looking for him can make a perception check.
Yeah, I guess that I would look.
Unfortunately, neither of you find him with that 13 and 14. You kind of ask around if anybody's seen him, but Ronan is he's a slippery guy. He tends to not be found unless he wants to be found. And today, at least, it seems like he's not wanting to be found. Looking for Lacey. Damian, I don't need a perception check from you for that, because it's not hard to find her. She has gotten news of what happened to David as well, and she comes seeking you out.
Yeah, I would say probably the first person I'd look for is Lacey, getting to the school, knowing their background and their history.
Yeah, she comes up to you in the hallway and kind of pulls you into the library. She asks you, Damian, I got a call from David's mother. He was killed in an explosion last night. What happened?
I'm gonna respond. You deserve to know the truth. You know the truth, so you deserve to know exactly what happened. And then I just recount everything I know, which honestly isn't much. I just, I'm putting together the pieces of, we went to the restaurant, we had some of the food, he ate some, and then we kind of all got separated. There was a major explosion, but it was the result of an attack, and my assumption is that he went down fighting. I think there are other people who are closer to the battle, but I'm really here to check in on you and see how you're doing, because I know y'all were pretty close.
You can tell that she has tears streaks when you first found her, and after listening to your recap, she is openly weeping at this. She just says, "Oh no, David." She just breaks down.
Offer a hug, towering 6'2" or 6 foot dude, and just offer this is. I think that display of emotion evokes some in Damian, but again, like, it's not like him and David were super close. They were just like, and so I think he's just going to offer to console and recommend that we, should meet up with the other Magi-Knights to discuss what happened.
It takes her a little bit to finish her tears, and towards the end of it, what I need from you is you can do a persuasion or a influence check.
Yeah, I'll do influence. Oh, it's a nat one. Cool.
Well, I'm going to give you advantage on this one.
Okay.
Jesus
That's not
Christ.
much better.
Yeah,
That's
it's
an
really
8.
not. What she's going to tell you is, I think I need some time alone right now, Damian.
Yeah,
David-
totally.
David- David's mother wants me to help out with the funeral. She says that I knew him better than pretty much everybody, so...
Yeah, let me know
I'll
if you need help with anything. I'll let you know. I'm available.
I'm sure I'll see you there, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, 100%.
Maybe we could all get together after the funeral and with the rest of your friends, and maybe we can talk about him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you deserve to know exactly what happened, and I don't have all the details, and I'm sorry. Like, you look. I was worried about you, and I'm glad. I'm glad you got to hear what I know from me. But I think you deserve more details. So, I do have one question for you, if you've got the time and energy.
Okay, what's up?
I remember David saying something about James Ronan being a Magi-Knight once upon a time. Did you know about that?
She says, yeah, I met James a few times, and he was around during last summer, but he stopped being a Magi-Knight shortly before school started, like maybe a month or two before that.
Okay. Just curious. Cool. Thanks.
She nods her head. I'll see you later, Damian. Thanks for checking up on me.
Yeah, no problem. Take care of yourself.
You can go ahead and add a social point to Lacey.
Tight.
Does anybody else do anything at school that day?
I want to adjust what I said earlier slightly.
Mhm.
Aisha took the day off, but she still went to the school
Okay.
and went to the music room.
Okay.
And she spends the entire school day in the music room.
I imagine there's a loud music coming out from there as Aisha just kind of pounds away her emotions through her major outlet, which is music and performing. Go ahead and give me a performance check.
Really? That's fine. The composition phase is terrible.
It is. Roll 20 hates y'all. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I think I'm walking by the music room. I was just gonna hear him be like, "Nope, she needs some space."
Yeah,
she
yeah.
needs some space.
For sure. It's like that scene in the new Star Wars movie when the stormtroopers walk up, see the explosions from Kylo Ren smashing everything, and just like, nope, walk away.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna look for anyone else though that wants to meet up and chat. Probably say, "Hey, I'm at school and I'm available to debrief if y'all are as well."
That is fair. By the end of the day, do you all meet up and talk about what happened?
Was it not a normal school day then? Like,
It
we're
is
not
a normal
doing, like, school phases and stuff?
Not exactly. We're going to be doing a specific system for time skipping. This is more an opportunity for role playing.
Okay, gotcha.
Because I don't plan on narrating the next week. Anyway, but if anyone has anything left they want to do during the day, they can. If not, my question then stands: do you all meet up after school and kind of go over everything?
Yeah,
I don't know about
Blackwood.
everybody else, but Salem's probably not. In all honesty, he's gonna just be focusing in on the routine, the ritual of like the day to day. Go to school, practice, come home. Go to school, practice, come home. Just that mentality.
Mm-hmm.
I think previously having connected with with Salem, I think Damian would try to seek him out if he's unless you're ghosting, like you're like purposefully.
I mean, I was about to say you can try. He's probably gonna be so I gotta go. Got rehearsal. Got a play coming up. Got a show coming up. Maybe next time.
Okay. Yeah, I think Damian's frustrated that he doesn't know more about what happened, right? And so he's like, looking to, if not Salem, then everybody else. Like, what the fuck happened? I need to know.
Is there clubs that day, or are there no clubs, or?
There's not going to be any clubs for you all for that day. Clubs are being canceled, and to be honest, the next few days, like I said, kind of go by a blur. It's going.
Cat's gonna stick around.
What's that?
Cat's gonna stick around if anyone wants to talk. So.
Okay. So, other than Salem, who is not interested in meeting up right now, between now and David's funeral, which is going to be on Saturday, what does anybody else not want to get together, or is everybody else getting together?
Melody will meet up with everybody else, but she won't be like talking that much, I guess that's the best way to say it.
Okay. Well, you can all meet up at one of your houses or just in school if you want to. But when that happens, what do you all do?
I think something I don't want to forget about, if like during the week I can run into Lacey again, is just asking her if the janitor is still following her, like if that's still happening, because like we were gonna check in on that, and then all this happened, so I don't want to forget about that, and I want that to be like in the back of my mind, and like see if she like remind her like, hey, just because this happened, don't stop looking over your shoulder, and like keep me posted.
She will tell you that she has an appointment to meet with the principal on Friday.
Okay, cool. Then I think I'm going to keep hanging out after school a little bit to like make sure that she's okay, and like, tail her, just like focus on something else, right? like focus on another task. But if we're still role playing that day, then I'm like hounding either Kat or Melody, probably not Aisha after seeing that musical performance. Just like, what the fuck happened? Can somebody fill me in? Because it's very aggravating to not know.
David saved us all.
And then did anybody actually witness the whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So y'all download it to me, I imagine?
We'd fill in everything. Well, I don't know if Melody's talking. She said she's gonna be quiet.
Yeah, I was actually standing right next to him. Or I'm not saying this. This is out of character. I was standing right next to him when he died. So, Melody just lets Aisha and Kat do the explaining, and she just kind of nods in agreement when they're saying things that she saw. So.
But essentially, you are given the download of the TLDR, if you will, of what happened in the kitchen, David fighting the crustacean.
Okay. Yeah.
we're gonna keep fighting the outsiders, right?
Can't give up.
I think after hearing the explanation of what happened and finding out that like David literally gave his life fighting, that's going to send Damian into a bit of a spiral to reflect on like if this is something he wants to keep doing. Just knowing he almost died, knowing that he could die again permanently in this way, like yeah. So I think he withdraws from the group until the funeral.
Okay. Do you do anything else during that time of withdrawal? Reach out to the Wanderer or anybody else?
I'll probably try to talk to Lacey again now that I know more details to like impart those details and to keep checking on her and defending her thing, like to like focus on something else. But the whole time isolating to like debate about whether he's going to continue with this or not.
Mm-hmm.
Aisha's gonna offer to the two remaining girls in the group right now to come back to her home if they don't want to be alone.
And I was going to say, the morning of the funeral, I think Salem is finally going to actually use the tele thing that we have and just message everybody to meet at his place after the funeral. We've got a lot to discuss.
Absolutely. Well, the day of the funeral doesn't take long to arrive. Those days of all of you kind of keeping your head down, trying to get your mind around the fact that this is life or death. It's not a joyful romp through the park. There's stakes, dangerous stakes. The day eventually rolls around. David's mother does contact everybody with the details. The funeral, like I said, is Saturday at the Cardellano Funeral Home, not far from David's house. It's going to be a fairly standard affair. Lacey fills you all in on the details of what's going on. Flowers, pictures of the decedent, opportunities for people who knew him to come up and share some memories or things like that. So, she tells you all that she would like to meet up with you all as his last friend group and kind of arrive at the funeral together if that's okay with everybody. And I think that's probably a good place to pause and go on break.
39.
Mm-hmm. We will be back in about 15 minutes, folks. We're going to all dry our eyes a little bit and get a drink, and then we're going to carry on with the next scene. So stay tuned. Howdy everybody, we are back. And when we last left off, our heroes, the Magi-Knights, were heading to the funeral of their dearly departed friend, David Copeland, who died sacrificing himself to save his companions. As our scene comes in, we focus on Cardellano Funeral Home, which is located in the upper section of L'Europa, not far from where David lives. It's actually not far from, it's actually just down the road from St. Mary's Cathedral, in fact. The funeral home is fairly typical. Large building with multiple large rooms, a crematorium, and that sort of thing in the back. But when you arrive, you see that you arrive with Lacey, who agreed to meet you all at the at the funeral home, and you see that there is a large sign in the front of the foyer when you first arrive, telling you that the funeral for David Copeland is in the first room of the funeral home. Now, when you arrive there, you see that there are quite a few people who have shown up for David's funeral. Besides besides you all, there are old friends from the computer club, a few other friends from school, quite a few of the teachers from Coltrast Academy are there. You recognize an older woman of middling years who looks very much like David, which is his mother. And Lacey walks you over to her when you first arrive, introducing you all by name and telling her that your group is a group of people that David just recently became friends with at the beginning of school year. David's mother recognizes you all as the members who went with David to Portland for Principal, now Dean Voken's reward ceremony. And she mentions to you all that it's nice to see you. I appreciate you showing up and being here with us during this sad and difficult time. She appreciates that you all went with David on that trip and that he could have had one last really fun time before what happened. Kat, you want to know if Dean Voken is still in the hospital, and the answer is yes, he is. The other teachers are all there, though. You recognize the vice dean as well. You recognize quite a few of your teachers, and Lacey also mentions that that somebody is going to be recording the actual funeral itself and is going to be sending a VHS copy of it to Dean Voken so that he could at least watch it. You're informed that the dean is doing okay. He's still in the hospital. He's still pretty banged up and hurt. But he hopes to return to the school before the end of September.
I just want to say that when we're introducing ourselves to David's mother, Aisha would give her a half hug and say, I didn't know him long, but he taught me a lot. Thank you for raising him.
She'll hug you fairly tightly, actually, and there's definitely tears in her eyes. She whispers something. Go ahead and make a perception check to try to hear what she says.
$16.
As you're releasing her, you hear her whisper, at least he didn't go the way his father did, before tearing up once again and walking away. Lacey mentions to you all after she walks away, that David's father died in a car accident. Actually, it was the car accident that made him a Magi-Knight.
Wild.
I no longer am adding that to my notes. Thank you for immediately clarifying.
Before long, after all the mingling and whatnot, the funeral director calls everyone's attention and asks for everyone to sit down. He thanks everybody for attending. He tells you that the family of the lost loved one appreciates the showing here tonight. That it warms everyone's heart to know how well David was loved by the community as a whole, and then goes on for a whole spiel. I'm not going to give you guys a full speech on this sort of thing. But eventually, people are the podium's opened up, and people are called on to say a few words or a memory about David. There are a few people who beat Lacey, but she's at least the third person up there. And what Lacey says is that David was such a good friend to me over the last summer. He was there when I went through some pretty dark things. He helped me out of a jam, and he became a really, really good friend. I'm sad that his new friends didn't get to know him as long as I have, but he would always tell me that he wanted his friends to succeed, to be better than he was. And that always stuck for me. It always made me want to be a better person. And so that's what I'm going to try to do. The podium is then eventually opened up to everyone. Does anybody have something they would like to say? Or should I say, who's the first person to get up and say something about David once the podium's open to everybody? Nobody?
Last.
Hmm.
Last, please.
I'm not good at these in real life either, so
If only
I
I
don't think
mentioned.
Damian feels like he knew him well enough to say anything.
Okay.
I'll go up. I got nothing else to lose.
Okay, Salem, what do you say?
I'm not good at these kind of things. I have never really experienced it before. Growing up, we never lived in a place long enough for me to make a friend, so even knowing David for a single day was more than I've known most people in my life, in all honesty. I'm sad that I didn't get to have as many experiences with him as many of you have, but I did at least get to see some pretty beautiful moments with him. David was the kind of kid that always worked hard every single day. Even in school, he would be practicing for gym just because he wanted to be better. He saw something that needed improvement and he worked hard to improve it. He always gave it his best, and he always had faith in the people that he allowed to, for the people that he welcomed into his life. I'm honored for even the small opportunity to get to know David Copeland, and I hope that I can live by some of that faith that he always implemented or always, saw in me. That's all I can really say about him. Thanks.
Well said, Salem. Take a point of inspiration. Did anybody like to go before Aisha? Aisha is going to go last.
I can go.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll just say, I only knew David for a few days, but I could tell he's the kind of person who looks out for others, and he definitely cared about us in a short amount of time. And I'm not gonna forget him anytime soon, or what a good friend he was to us, even though he barely knew us. Thanks for the opportunity. And then I'll sit down.
Well done. Take a point of inspiration.
Thank you.
We can go above one, right? That's the
Yeah.
time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Inspiration, you just have to spend it right away or give it to somebody else if you get above 1.
Oh, wait a minute. I thought that there's there's things that allow you to get 2 inspiration
Yes,
points.
if you have the, it's like a box or something. I can't remember what it is. It's a social tactic, I think, that allows you to have 2. I'll have to check. But
yeah, it's either unity points or inspiration. And if you get the max of unity point, you can turn it into inspiration. It's a student tactic.
Yeah. Because we all currently have 1 inspiration because of the soul oblation last night. Or 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I forgot
Do
about
we?
that.
Yeah.
I don't
Mhm.
have anything marked.
You
We all got
should
one.
have.
I
You should
have it
already
marked.
Yeah. I'll just automatically spend it.
Okay.
I'm
We'll
hanging
talk-
on to mine.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that afterwards because I thought there was a thing that allowed you to have more than 1. But we'll talk about that later.
Sorry.
It's all good. Aisha, eventually it does wind down and people begin to finish up. You are the
I have
last to stand.
I do have a preamble before.
Mm-hmm.
So she kind of uncharacteristically walks up kind of slowly and adjusts the mic down to her shorter height and says, "Funerals are for those left behind. David, in the short time I knew him, taught me new ways to be better and to give myself to others, for others. So, let me debut my tribute to him to all of you."
Everyone begins to grow silent as they look on as Aisha puts down, I guess, a tape recorder and presses play before she begins this.
You left us all alone in a cacophony, feeling so helpless. Now we're defenseless. Don't know how we'll escape this monotony. Every moment a brand new pain, all these words remain. Even taking center stage, it's all in my head, all in my head. Your legacy remains. These past few weeks are leaving me senseless. Whatever will remain of our purpose, it's like the ring's been taken out the circus, and I don't know if I'm ready to work this, but I'll pick up your legacy. I'm not the type to cry, woe is me. Every moment, a brand new pain, all these words remain. Even taking center stage, it's all in my head, all in my head, your legacy remains. Every moment, a brand new pain, all these words remain. Even taking center stage, it's all in my head, your legacy remains. Just when things start to make sense, you wind up dead, and it's not like the movies. There's no recompense, no satisfying conclusion, just an endless cacophony of misery and lies, words left unsaid. A duty I promise I will take up, my dear friend. Every moment, a brand new pain. All these words remain, even taking center stage. It's all in my head, all in my head.
Eventually, Aisha's song finishes. Eventually, Aisha's song finishes. And you all kind of sit back after listening to this almost rock opera song. Like it invokes in my head Envy Adams at Scott Pilgrim's funeral in the most recent Scott Pilgrim series, which if you haven't watched it, you're wrong. Go watch it now. But anyway.
I definitely wasn't bullied to watch it before I wrote that.
It's really, really good.
It was really good. I did not regret that.
But with that in mind, eventually the funeral ends. And you are all left standing out in the front of the building as a group with Lacey. She thanks you all for coming. She is glad that you are all there for this. Now, during that time, I should ask, was there anything anybody else wanted to do before I move on?
I wanted to see if Ronan was at the funeral.
I figured. It's either perception or investigation. I'll take either.
Okay.
Can I look as well?
Mm-hmm.
Because Kat's wondering that.
Bad 9.
Do a check. Just for shits and giggles, because I know Melody has a crush on him.
Go for it.
I have been wanting to talk to him about this ever since it happened, so...
13 investigation.
14 perception.
Cat, and yeah, unfortunately, all of you're aiming for a 16. Although none of you spot Ronan at the funeral itself, towards the end of it, Cat, you are walking by David's coffin one last time. And you notice that there's something underneath David's hands in the casket that wasn't there the first time you walked through. There is a pair of blue clamshell headphones placed under his hand, along with a white rose. And while you had been looking for Ronan and you never saw him at the funeral, something about that just tells you that he definitely was there at one point. And that's obviously left by him. But the elusive Mr. Ronan is nowhere to be seen. Gotta roll better, guys.
We're trying. We're trying.
I will say that at some point, Aisha would have just did a quick soul gem probe for outsiders to make sure no one was going to ruin this day.
Fortunately, there is not. I'm not going to make you roll for that one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I wanted to go over to the coffin, but that's good if Kat pointed it out to Melody. And then also... Well, actually, I'll ask you about that later. So, I'll go over to the coffin after Kat points out the rose and the headphones, and then I just want to say to David, I guess, or it's probably not going to be long before we see you again. Say hi to Malcolm for me. And then I walk away.
You all meet up in front of the funeral home. Lacey is with you as one of David's friends. You had all mentioned that you want to get together and talk and really digest what's going on. Where do you head to have this conversation?
I do offer my
agreed on
Salem
Salem's
had
place.
offered, so I assume we'd go to Salem's.
Sound like everybody said Salem's.
Well, Cat lives nearby, so there's also that option.
I live by myself, so we don't have to worry about interruption.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, I think I would drive over to Salem's and take whoever wants to come with me. I think that
Okay.
was the best plan so far.
Absolutely. You all head over to Salem's. Just a simple studio apartment not far from Coltrast Academy. It's not spacious, but it's at least cared for. And Salem has made it his own.
Yeah. Like when you walk in, it's a very small, like longer than wide. There's going to be a stack of mismatched bookshelves on the right. Two of them are full of actual books, music sheets. Third one is record player and records. In the back, there is a little like chair set up with the cello, and then on the other side, you're going to have a futon, and then a desk, and then the kitchen and bathroom set up. So not the most spacious, but it's home.
I don't see it on the map. Just I know it's a minor thing, but
Right
South of the
above
water.
Ambrosia Cafe.
South of south of school, below the water.
oh, got it. I see now.
It's my home.
When Kat said she lived down the street, I thought, never mind. Yeah, I'm tracking this. Thank you.
So when everybody gets inside, I'm going to go ahead and start making a pot of tea. And then I will set up some plates and pull out a little cake that I had purchased from like the 7-Eleven down the street. Just doing that sort of thing and just kind of sit in the quiet until somebody speaks first.
I'm not giving up.
We can't give up. It'd feel like his death means nothing if we just walk away from this.
Yeah.
That's true, but I do think this is really hard to say, and I have been trying to spend the past few days processing my thoughts and feelings on everything. I don't do well with grief. It does not sit well. But I think that these are important things that we need to discuss. David knew what he signed up for, as we all did. We all made that contract. I'm not saying it's right for him to die or be dead, but it is unfortunately something we did agree on because, let's face it, we're all on borrowed time. We all died. We should be dead. So, we know that. Now, I am very curious about what had transpired, and I think that is a conversation that needs to be had. But I also think right now we should discuss how to move forward. Because if we don't come together as a group, we're going to lose each other one after another. So, currently, we may be fighting together, but we're not a team. We are a group of individuals with cool powers who fight for ourselves. So I think it's important that we all take some time to understand who each person is, what they can do, and how we can all come together and not let this happen again. So, I have known you all for less than a week, and this is a lot.
And Lacey's here too, right?
Believe
You're
so.
muted. I mean,
Yes, Lacey is here as well, so if there's anything you want to ask her, you can.
Lacey, I appreciate you coming out here. I know that you have a lot of questions as well, as I'm sure we all do. I wish I could be a better host, but it is what it is. So,
I mean, I assume you all gave her the TLDR as well by this point.
Probably. If we had a chance to, we would have.
Yeah.
If nothing
I
else,
think
I imagine Damian would have after we gave it to Damian.
Yeah, if I didn't see her like during the week, it would like I'd hope to be getting more than a TLDR at some point. Like I want actual details because I think that's what Lacey deserves. If that makes sense. Like,
well, so
actually
when I say
understanding.
TLDR, it means I'm not
Mhm.
trying to recap everything on camera if we don't
Sure.
need to. But if we need
Yeah.
to like discuss something and get details solidified, that's when we can go in for specifics. That's more when I mean
Sure.
when I say TLDR.
Okay, cool. We're on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Damian has much to say at this point after, filling in Lacey on everything that he was told, whether that happened earlier in the week or here at this meeting. I think he agrees with everything Salem is saying. But as a result of everything is a little more guarded than he may have been initially. As far as like friendship and being buddy goes. Yeah.
I mean,
it's fair.
this is not our fault. It's my fault.
No,
No.
we're not going to start that. That's how things break apart. It's not your fault. It's not our fault.
If it's
the
anyone's
enemy's
fault, it's the Wanderer's fault. Like,
I thought it was Ronan's fault for sending us there.
It's not Ronan's fault either. It's the enemy's fault, and I need to stay focused on that, because if we start blaming each other or ourselves, that's when we fall apart. So, since I have no real attachment to any of you guys, I feel I can actually take a moment to focus a little bit, because I don't have the emotional connection that you guys did. But from my perspective, it is nobody's fault. And I think we need to recognize that we are all here fighting villains, fighting things from otherworld. And that's what we need to focus on.
I agree.
You all hear a familiar voice say, Salem is right. Nobody can blame themselves for what happened. The unfortunate reality is this is all part and parcel about what it is to be a Magi-Knight. You all kind of turn and you see the cat, the Wanderer, wingless, just a cat, kind of laying along one of the armrests of the Salem's couch. You know, in that cat-like way, arms and legs kind of draped on the side, tail flickering back and forth. But as you all focus on the Wanderer, they kind of push themselves up into one of those cat-like stretches and does a big, wide, toothy yawn before straightening up and sitting down prim and proper. The cat says to you all, it's so unfortunate when a Magi-Knight loses their life. There's nothing else one can really say about it. But that is part of what we're doing here. It's the understanding that there's something so much bigger out there threatening your world. So much bigger that it's a noble sacrifice. But it's a sacrifice nonetheless. Every Magi-Knight makes that choice when they choose to become one. It's the understanding that there are things out in the world so much more than anyone can truly comprehend. All we can do is our part. Do our part in the battle. And when that day inevitably comes, we have people strong enough, powerful enough to stand against the dread that is inevitable. While David's sacrifice was tragic, and we'll all mourn him in our own way, at the end of the day, these things are what make us stronger, make us able to handle the true terrors of the night and what's truly out there. You all have to use this as a growing point. Now you've seen what's truly there. Now you know what you're fighting against. You're all going to have to come together. You're all going to have to work together. You're all going to have to stand as one. Because if not, those things will just keep coming into your world. And eventually your world will be overrun. The cat kind of pauses for a moment and lets his ears flicker a little bit, giving you all a moment to respond if you want.
We definitely can't let ourselves get split up like that again. We're stronger when we can get to each other quickly and have each other's back and pull each other back up when we fall down.
Agreed. I think we should also make sure that if there are times when we do have to split up, we split up in a smart way.
Yeah.
But I think we can. I think we can do it. We've got the power, so.
Well, when David told us all to run out, I thought he was coming with us, so some of that couldn't have... I mean, David wanted it that way, so...
I think you're right, unfortunately.
He did it to protect us.
I was thinking when the fight started, but yeah.
I do have a question for the Wanderer.
You may ask any questions you want.
Can we damage the crystal, or do we have to destroy the outsiders to damage the crystal?
The crystal itself is a physical manifestation of the collected power that the outsiders were gathering. Touching it itself is horribly dangerous, like Aisha discovered. When the outsider itself is gone, the power they're holding dissolves away and returns to those they stole it from. Attacking the crystal might have unleashed that power early, but you never know for certain, and you're never going to know how you can unleash it until you try a few things, because, to be honest, there's a lot of variables in store. It's a lot of Euclidean math. It's really complicated. But then like you start seeing these fractals of mathematics kind of forming around the cat in just this weird halo of him attempting to try to figure out a way to explain it with something that, like, imagine trying to do complex math on a whiteboard to a bunch of people who know basic algebra but nothing more.
Is this the meme?
Yeah, this is the meme.
Yeah,
this is the meme. And then the cat kind of shakes their head and is like, it's really difficult to figure out right then and there. You have to kind of try a few things to see what sticks. But no matter what, once you find the outsider in control of the cult, they're in charge. They're in control of the power that's being collected. If you destroy it, you destroy the thing that it's holding on to. Does that make sense?
Destroy the outsider, it destroys the crystal, and it also will knock out any of its hordes?
As long as it's the one in control of them, yeah.
Unless there's a second.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we probably aren't strong enough to do that yet, right?
Didn't
Probably
feel strong
not.
enough.
No, it takes a massive amount of power, and your group is, to be honest, starting out. You're going to have to train more. You're going to have to strengthen yourselves. And unfortunately, the only true way to strengthen oneself is through experience. Now, once you have that experience, you can bring others up to your level. But to get beyond that, you're going to have to find the powerful things. You're going to have to find the cultists. You're going to have to deal with them. And then, whatever's remaining is powering you up, and you use that to augment yourselves, and you eventually become powerful enough that you can take on these bigger, badder things as they come into your world. Or, if you're really lucky, stop them from coming into your world by defeating those who are under their control. But that's the role of the Magi-Knight.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
When we fall down, sometimes our crystal fractures, but when we wake up, it restores itself. Why wasn't that happening to David's crystal? Why do we have to worry about running out of second chances?
For that, you're going to need to make either a persuasion or an influence check.
Okay. Can I use my student ability?
What's your student ability?
My student ability is charismatic student. Forceful personality, sorry. You may use the inspiration, and as a free action, your next charisma skill check result becomes 20 plus your modifier. And the only thing it says is you may not use this ability during a combat encounter, and it can be used after the dice are rolled.
Well, you're not in combat right now, so yeah, I would say you can use it.
Hot dog. Why did my sheet close? Oops, that's the wrong my sheet. This is my sheet. What's my modifier? Persuasion. So that'd be 23 total.
Okay. Take off that point of inspiration. With that question, the Wanderer kind of looks at you for a moment before saying, David chose to use the gloom gems he had gathered to create your group of Magi-Knights. David was worried that with so many others out there that he wouldn't be able to have a team to have his back. And over the course of the summer, he and his companions accumulated quite a lot of gloom gems. So, instead of using them for their purpose, he decided to try to use that energy to create a new group of Magi-Knights. The process worked, but it was impractical, to say the least. Energy from gloom gems is filtered through a crystal to create that, and it's power that's been siphoned off of spectral outsiders. That magic is corrupted. It leaves a stain on you. And in the moment when he pitched the idea to me, the only thing we had that was pure enough to filter out all of that corruption and impurity was his own soul crystal. And so David decided to allow that to happen, to use his crystal as a filter to get out all of that negative energy that was combined in with the gloom gems. And it worked. Each of you were able to draw forth your soul crystal, but it came at a cost. And that's the problem with magic from the outsiders. It always has a cost. I didn't know what it would do to David when he asked me. But what happened was that negative energy that he filtered out remained within his crystal. It made him kind of erratic. I don't know if you noticed this, and I was kind of worried about that. But it kept his fractures open. It wouldn't allow his crystal to heal. And in the end, I think that's what did him in. That's the thing about choices, Magi-Knights. All choices have consequences. Some of them good, some of them great. Some of them not so good.
Well, it sounds like it wasn't a case of falling down one too many times then. As long as we don't do some totally crazy magic to save a few extra people, we should be okay. And she kind of looks down and then up at the sky and whispers something. So thank you.
Thank you, David. He sacrificed himself more than once for us.
That he did. Does anybody else have any questions for the Wanderer?
I have one.
Yes.
Before I joined the group, there was another. And I can only assume that I took their crystal. So, where does that leave them?
Make a persuasion check. Or an influence check.
Nat 20, so 23.
Levi did give up his soul crystal. He specifically asked for his power to be transferred, and there's really only one way to do that. He transferred his power to me to transfer to the next Magi-Knight because he knew he was in a hopeless situation and no way out, much like David did.
So you're telling me we lost 2 Magi-Knights within the span of a week?
The cat looks over at you and says, "It can happen that way. It's unfortunate, but fate is a cruel mistress. Fate eventually catches up to us all. I am able to tweak fate just a little bit, to postpone it, to give people a second chance at life. But in the end, fate's fate. Fate can be extended because the reality is, in the grand scheme of the universe, anyone is little more than a blink of an eye. The universe has existed for over 13.5 billion years. Can you imagine 13.5 billion years? What's the span of 30 years? It's nothing. It's not even a snap of a finger. It's the first octave of a snap. I mean, if you really want to get down to it, of all of the entirety of history, if it were explained in the span of a year, 99% of history has existed long before any of you people walked upon the face of this earth. In fact, from a realistic standpoint, humans have only been around for about 20,000 years, give or take. And the universe has gone on for 13.5 billion years. So, what matter does fate have if those years are kind of shuffled a little bit? So, while for your perspective and standpoint, your lives have all been extended, from a universal standpoint, it's just a few moments. But that's the thing, Damian. A lot can happen in a few moments. A lot can change in a few moments.
I think Damian grabs something, whatever's nearest to him, and throws it at the Wanderer for that explanation. Just, like, read a fucking room, dude. Like, that's, you know, yeah. Whatever's nearby gets thrown at the Wanderer, and as if to, like, just end the topic.
You're ready about the instrument.
Make an athletics check.
I don't own very much, Damian.
24.
What's the nearest thing, Salem, that Damian grabs and throws?
Where is Damian standing?
Probably leaning against the wall, you know, like arms folded. I don't, you know.
Are you closest to the kitchen?
Maybe, probably.
You would probably have either like a cup that I poured your tea in, a little saucer that I got for the cake if you wanted some, or maybe an apple.
Probably the apple. Just
Okay.
like, you know, he's slowly eating it and just throws it.
You launch it, and it goes right over the Wanderer's head, barely missing the cat's ears, and just impales into the wall with a 24 athletics. Like, it sticks there in the drywall.
And with that, Damian's gonna take a walk, you know, cool off.
I'll get that fixed for you.
Fine, I'll go check on Damian. You guys continue to talk with the Wanderer.
Okay. With Damian leaving the apartment, the door slams, and Salem looks at you all and tells you that he's going to go after them, and he too exits the room, or the apartment. What do the three of you do?
I don't think Aisha has any more questions for the Wanderer.
Don't you dare go through my diary.
She's going to...
Through
That
his
wasn't on...
diary?
Maybe I'll do that now. It wasn't even in my mind. Thank you very much. Playing the high purity character. She's going to turn to Lacey and say, how did your conversation with the principal go?
Well, Dr. Damn it, I'm blanking on the name. Hold on one second. Dr. Priestley, she took what I said to heart, it seems like. She did say she needed more proof than a feeling, but she would have a conversation with him about appearances and that sort of thing, and she told me that if I ever feel like he's following me or anything like that again, I should tell her immediately and she'll take more corrective action. She seemed like more surprised than anything else. I don't know if it was a student making a complaint or something like that, but she at least listened to what I said. She didn't argue with me or anything like that, and she made notes and told me that she takes this kind of thing seriously and will definitely be investigating it further.
I think we should wait. Above the table question. It's
Yeah.
at the point where you can get those $25 at the drugstore film cameras. This word.
Probably-ish.
Yeah.
I think you need 4 budget tallies, I think is what we looked up and figured out.
We should try and get you. I just wanted to make sure they existed in the universe before Aisha suggested
Oh, yeah.
this.
For sure.
We should try and get you some cheap single-use camera to try and get some of that proof. We might be able to pull our funds together for that.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Kat. Melody. How are you two feeling?
Probably what's expected in the circumstances. But I kind of want to find James just because he was friends with him for a long time. And I'm worried.
I agree. I think he's already been doing some foolish things.
I wonder if he blames us.
I wonder if he blames himself.
Well, guess you're going to have to try and find him. But as the 3 of you are kind of ruminating on that and thinking about where you might be able to find him, we turn our scene to Damian, who is currently walking down the block trying to clear their head, while Salem is on a fast approach behind. So, Salem, I imagine you would spot Damian before they spotted you. So, what would you do?
Just run up to him. Probably not say anything, just get up to him and just start walking in pace with him until he calmed down enough to stop.
Yeah, I think Damian would, acknowledge your presence, man. Just, I'm sorry about your wall. I'm sorry about, thank you for hosting us, but that fucking cat seems to not give a shit about any one of us. He's got his job, his mission, but we're fucking pawns to him, and I'm sick of feeling like any one of us could bite it, could eat it. And he saved our lives, so what? None of it, our lives don't actually matter to him. It's we're playthings. I don't know.
No, that's fair, and you're right. Problem is, we are just playthings to him, but I don't think it's something you should let weigh on you, because at the end of the day, we can't control what he does, or can't control how they feel. We can only control how we feel and what we do. And
okay.
Damian, I owe you a huge apology. Earlier at the restaurant, I was just, I don't know, even knowing that the food was suspicious, I even jokingly gave it and offered it to you. I don't know what I was thinking, and that was not right.
No,
The truth-
man,
The truth is, Damian, we've only known each other not even a week, and you are probably the closest thing to a friend I have ever had. I've never really gotten an opportunity to get to know people as well as I have with you, and I shouldn't have been cold, and I shouldn't have been distant this week, and I do appreciate you reaching out, but it was a lot. It is a lot.
yeah, I get it. Everyone handles grief differently. Yeah, no, I I get that it wasn't personal. We should probably go back in. I don't want to worry anybody else anymore.
Yeah, no, of course. Before that, though, and Salem's gonna hand you a small little cassette, because it's the 90s. I had a little free time this week and needed to focus, so I just made a little thing for you. Music's kind of how I work through things, so maybe it can help with you as well.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't have anything for you, but
Don't
I
worry
appreciate
about
it.
Don't worry about it. You've done enough. Let's get back.
Yeah. Let's.
Okay.
So,
Well, by the time you go back, the Wanderer has departed, or at least disappeared. The ladies can't say for certain when that happened. It's just one of those moments when the three of them were all talking together and then they turned around and the cat isn't there anymore. But you also know that he's pretty much everywhere and always at your beck and call if you want to summon him. But with that in mind, is there anything anybody is wanting to do during this this time period?
is there enough time that I could leave and go to Ray's bookstore?
I mean, there certainly is. There's all the time in the world. It's a Saturday today, so you really have all day long. So if you would like to go searching him out, you could. Are you telling anybody you're doing this, or are you just kind of slipping out?
No, I'll tell whoever's closest to me. One of the girls, I guess.
Aisha would offer to come with.
Oh, I say sorry, but I was told that you can't.
Oh, right. Above the table. Keep her communicator close.
Okay.
Just want to see if you can hear me.
Yeah.
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. Headphone out.
Okay, yeah. I say I'm gonna go to Ray's bookstore. And I put on my rollerblades.
Be careful.
I will.
I imagine you leave probably a little bit before Salem and Damian arrive. So you go skating off across the city, heading towards Ray's used bookstore. It takes a few hours, I'm not going to lie. It's actually quite a ways distance from where you currently are, but you would make up the time and probably arrive there not long before darkness has begun to settle over the city of Loropa. You enter the used bookstore to find Unisong standing there behind the counter. She's watching a soap opera on TV and just kind of reading a book as well, so not really paying attention to much. But when you enter the building, the door jingles a little bit and she looks up and she gives you a small smile. She recognizes you from school and she says, "Oh, hi. Welcome to Ray's Used Bookstore. Can I help you with anything?"
Yes, I'm actually looking for James Ronan. Has he come in today?
I want to roll for this. Because, you know, it's James.
I also forgot to say at the funeral that, and since the funeral, since I haven't changed, Melody's extra gothy, like darker makeup even more so than usual, and her outfit too.
I like it. Yeah, it would either be influence or persuasion, honestly. Leadership as well, if you had it better in that.
Okay. I wish it could be one of my student abilities. Let's see.
What are your student abilities?
Insight, perception, and creativity. But I forgot that we can use them after we roll. I should have used it earlier when I was looking for him, but I forgot.
That is true.
Ooh, a 10.
Well, if you would like to re-roll it, you can. It's up to you.
Yeah, I think I will. Ooh, 25, 20.
And that's
20.
why we use inspiration. Yuna says, "Oh, yeah, actually, James is here. He's downstairs in the basement, along with my Hajiba. You're Melody, right?
Yes.
Melody Mabbitt, yeah. James said that he was expecting you, actually. He said to let you downstairs."
Okay. That's surprising.
Yeah, come on. It's just this way. And she leads you, behind the counter at the bookstore, there is a door with a curtain that she leads you into, which you discover to be a very small kitchenette-style kitchen. Little table, just a few appliances. But towards the back, there is a staircase. Actually, there's two staircases. One leading up and one leading down to the basement. And it's the basement one that she leads you down towards now. She gets down to the basement door, which is closed, and it actually has a little sign on it that says "Keep Out," written in black Sharpie, which you can't help but kind of chuckle at a little bit as she knocks on the door. You hear a moment later, "What?" At which point Yuna says, "Hey, yeah, it's Yuna. You said Melody Mabbitt was gonna be here at some point. She's here." The next words you hear are, "It's unlocked." Yuna looks at you and says, "Go ahead. I'm not going to deal with James. He's been a giant asshole the last few days. I don't know if you noticed this. Maybe you can calm him down."
I'll try. Okay, I'll go inside.
You see Yuna hurrying up the stairs behind you. "Hello, Kat."
Sorry.
It's all good. The room you enter, the basement, is dark, to say the least. It takes a moment for you to adjust your eyes, but you find wall-to-wall bookshelves just simple things made of steel, coated with a thin coating of gray paint, and just covered in books. You kind of have to weave your way around a little bit. But towards the back of this basement that's filled with shelves and of books, it's almost like a maze a little bit, but there's a glow towards the back. And you can see several old tube-style computer monitors, about half a dozen in total, all lined up along some tables towards the back of the area. There is a small a chair, one of one of those long high back chairs you see executives sitting in corporations. A really old, weathered, worn down version of that in front of these computers. But the chair is turned and there's nobody sitting in it. A few feet away, you see the person you're looking for, James Ronan, silhouetted by the harsh light of the multiple monitors being on. And I'll remind you all, this is the 90s. This is not like your flat screen, large computers. This is a tube monitor in a box that has that little line going up and up and up, and it just gives that harsh kind of cobalt light from the thing that slightly illuminates everything, but also makes it really, really dark and grim, which you can't help but reflect, Melody, that if you could ever imagine a place James Ronan would be, this is kind of it. It's like it's like the Bat Cave in the bottom of a bookstore. And God, it's stereotypical.
Yeah, he even has his own throne in it.
He does. He really does. He is a pretentious fuck.
So the only source of light is the monitors, then?
The only source of light is the monitors, but you can see the silhouette of James Ronan standing near a small table.
Okay. I say, what do I say?
What do you say?
Yes. Your den, I guess should be what I expected.
His reaction shouldn't be unexpected either. He just shrugs.
I just wanted to come check on you. I know you were at the funeral, but I didn't get to see you. And I was kind of worried because I know you're friends with David. Well, sort of friends, according to you.
He doesn't respond right away. In fact, what he does is he kind of walks away from the table. And as you glance down at the table itself, what you see is that there is a small teapot and a pair of saucers on the table there where he was standing. He walks over and kind of situates himself between the computers and yourself, so giving you a handful of distance between the two of you. He says, I guess I appreciate the thought. I figured if anything else, your group would be whining and crying and moping right now. Kind of surprised you came and sought me out.
Yeah, we're all pretty upset, but you knew him better than all of us but Lacey, so it just seemed like it might be harder for you.
He shrugs a second time. I don't know if it's harder for me or not. It's David wasn't the first of your lot to fall to an outsider. In fact, not the first by a long shot.
So you're saying you're used to it?
I don't know if anybody gets used to death. Except maybe another Magi-Knight. They're designed to die. That's what you're here for.
I kind of figured that out after all of this.
I think Damian and Ron might have more in common now. Jeez.
Not gonna lie, Melody. When I sent you all to check out that restaurant, wasn't expecting you all to go barging in and just start fucking things around. What the hell was that? Did you even have a plan?
Well, we didn't know what to expect, and we just saw people being used, their energy being drained from them, and we wanted to put a stop to it.
He kind of chuckles at that. It's a rueful chuckle, kind of, you know, the type that makes you feel a little bit forlorn. He says, that's the thing. You're never going to know what you find. That's what reconnaissance is. When I gave you that, I assumed y'all would go there, look around, maybe distract the people there for a little bit. I didn't think you'd go all out and... He just waves a hand like to say all that you did.
Does that mean that you blame us for what happened to David?
Another persuasion check.
Okay. Ah, 7.
You have a +5 in this. God
I
damn.
know.
What he says in reply is... Sorry, what was the question one more time?
Do you blame us for what happened to David?
Not per se. No. I mean, that's kind of what happens. Magi-Knights die. All Magi-Knights are dead to begin with. Dead people walking. Ooh, that's a good name. Maybe somebody should write a comic book about that.
Wait, he actually said that?
Yeah, no, he actually said that. Because I'm an idiot.
I mean, I'd probably read it. And I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, so if you think we're so foolhardy and naive, I guess, and just don't really know what we're doing, maybe you should come with us next time.
He kind of gives you a cold look. I'm writing on your 7 persuasion right now. That's not my job, Melody. I've told you this before. I'm not a fucking Magi-Knight. That's your job.
That's true, but you just seem to have a better head on your shoulders when it comes to this.
Make another persuasion check.
Okay, I'm scared. $11.
That's better than the 7.
Yeah.
You want to get better at this, Melody? You want to extend your chances of survival? Then your group needs to get back out there and fight those things. It's the only way you're going to get stronger.
Okay. Okay, so out of character really quick.
Mhm.
So one of the choices for using your inspiration is called Inspirational Bond Boost. It says complete a small project to gain 2 SP with any NPC.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided that Melody was going to draw something. And so I'm going to tear a page out of my sketchbook and hand it to Ronan. And it's a drawing of David with just like the normal kind of serious look he has on his face, and he's wearing the clamshell headphones and holding the rose that Ronan left in the coffin.
Make a persuasion, not a a perception check.
Okay.
Because when you hand him something, when you hand him this, he's going to react.
Okay. Ooh, 22. Thank you.
You see this look on his face, and it's heartbreaking. Like, for a moment, the very carefully crafted persona that James Ronan puts on for everybody just vanishes. And in that moment, you see a look of true anguish on his face. You can tell that whatever he's letting on, David's loss has hit him harder than even he was expecting it to. Now I'd like you to make an insight check.
Okay. Ah, 6.
Unfortunately, beyond that, you don't get a whole lot. But you can tell that what you're giving him has moved him. You are going to get your 2 social points with James Ronan.
Okay. Go ahead.
James, he takes the picture and he walks over to his computer and he sets it down near the keyboard. He's with his back to you. He says, I doubt you've had time to read that book much. So instead, I'm going to give you a little piece of advice. The world is complicated, but there are specific rules that, no matter what, the world has to follow. Rules like physics. Gravity is a great example of it. But rules intrude upon other rules, and things tend to overlap one on the other, on the other, on the other, creating a very complex and unique ecosystem. I'm sure you've taken the advanced science classes that the school has, and they've talked a little bit about that sort of thing, but you should know by now, but there's a lot more to reality than just the thing most people's five senses can detect. You have that soul crystal of yours. You know that magic is real. You know that the metaphysical is possible. And as he's saying this, with that 22 perception I'm going to ride along with, you see that his hands are beginning to move just a little bit. It's hard to follow it, given that there's so little light, but my best way to describe it is almost like, the shit Naruto does when they're doing their jutsus. It's kind of sort of like that. Yeah, shit like that. And you're seeing his hands move, but suddenly, as they spread when he's saying this, a cascade of fireworks just come exploding out from his hands, creating little showers of sparks between them before he claps them once again. And you see him like shaking his hands as though like they hurt. James says to you, if you know that the physical is there and you know that the metaphysical is there, it should be a fairly easy thing to connect that our perceptions of reality are not nearly what they seem. There are worlds within worlds, as that movie Fern Gully that came out a few years talked about. And most of those worlds are not something we simple mortals can perceive. You as the Magi-Knights, it's your job to confront the things that come across the veil, right? The things that intrude into our world. But here's the question you should be asking yourself. Where are those things coming from? And how many exist on the other side? It's a question I posed a lot. And I never did get a satisfying answer. Probably why that fucking cat shattered my crystal.
He doesn't want you to find the answer?
Or he at least wasn't happy with the fact that when he wouldn't give me the answers, I told him to fuck off.
I could see that upsetting him. Well, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say thank you for the advice.
Thanks for coming and checking up on me, Melody.
You're welcome, and I'm sorry for your loss. I know you try to pretend like you don't care, but you don't have to be that way. You can talk to me about these things.
I guess when the pot and the kettle meet up, all they have to do is talk about their similarities, huh?
I guess so. All right. I guess I'll head back then, or since it's a few hours, I'll just start heading home, I guess.
Probably.
Yeah.
And it is 9 o'clock, so that is a great place to end things for this evening. So, here's what's going to happen. Next session, at the beginning of it, we're going to roll a few things to find out what happened throughout the next 7 days, from the time David passed away till the time the Magi-Knights investigation picks up again. For every day, the only thing we're going to actually be rolling and doing is your free time phase. Your patrol phases doesn't really come up with anything. During the next 7 days, there is no cult activity. But there are still a few threads to nail down, and we're going to quick go through those as well next session. So, everyone's going to have a total of 9 free time periods to very quickly and rapidly go through, so we don't take up too much time next session. But it will at least give players a few things for that time, which is how the time skipping works in Magi-Knights. Basically, you time skip the week, but you still do your free time phases. So we're going to go through that next week. And then we're going to be picking up the next day at school on Wednesday, September the 4th. Damian, you would also know that the following Saturday after that is your soccer match between Coltrast Academy and Laropa High School. We will also do there's 5 club days that we're going to be going through. So we can do those real quick as well. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you to everyone who watched this evening. We very much appreciate you tuning in and hanging out with us during a very heavy roleplay session episode. Hana, you never did get to use your coin, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
I considered it, but there was no moment that I didn't like the result.
That's fair. But thank you again to everyone who watched. We very much appreciate you tuning in and hanging out with us. If you enjoy our content, please make sure to hit the follow or the subscribe button, depending on where you're watching us. Also, hit that bell notification if you're on YouTube, that way you can see whenever our new content drops. Come back in 2 weeks when our Magi-Knights get back into their investigation and to finding more of the spectral outsiders and the cults that follow them. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now, as always, I go around the table and have everyone tell us who they are and where we can find them on the internet. Hana, since you're the one who did the recap, why don't you go first?
Because I have calendar open. You can find me everywhere on the internet at Destiny Trio Inc. That's INC, not INK. It's incorporated, not the paint Anyway, I don't have a lot going on in January. This every other Wednesday, 10th and 24th. Otherwise, on January 14th, Sunday, you can find me over on Random Reps. Not Random Rhapsody, that's where we are right now. You can find me on Singularity, where I will be playing the complete opposite of Aisha, my trans hacker girl, in a game of City of Mist, where we are entering our third case. I'm quite excited for that. We had a very similar session to this last month also, actually. So that's interesting.
It happens sometimes. Los, you're next.
Yeah, sorry, making sure I'm not muted. PDX Homebrew on all my socials. Just got a capture card, so I'm excited to start streaming. I'll be doing that on Twitch under the same handle, PDX Homebrew. Still got some kinks to iron out before I do that, so I'll probably announce, some type of when I'll do that next time. Otherwise, you can catch me here every other Wednesday.
Right on. Ash, you're next.
I'm Ashleyien. Was playing Cat today, and you can find me here every second Wednesday. That's about it.
Absolutely.
And my
John.
headphone will be working next time.
Let's hope. John, you're next.
All right. I'm John. You can find me at Instagram at CreativePanda88 or on Blue Sky at johnpoart.bluesky. All that fun stuff. I'm currently a little sick, so excuse this. But you can also, starting January, find me here at 2 locations at 2 different times. On Mondays, I will be in the Aethertech Wars, and then Wednesdays, I'll be here with the other Magi-Knights, so I'm excited.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
It is.
Kira, you're up.
I'm Kira. I'm the assistant creator of Magi-Knights, and you can find all of our social media links on magi-knights.com, as well as a link to the drive-through RPG link where you can get a copy of Magi-Knights. And the physical copies should be arriving sometime in January, and we'll start shipping them out, so you can pre-order those on GameFound. And then I'm also the author of the children's book, My Dad the Game Master, which you can find on Amazon.
Definitely go check them out. I love this campaign stuff. I love Magi-Knights Awakening, and it's a lot of fun. So definitely go to RPG Drive-Thru and check it out. Well, as always, I am Matthew R. Dawson, your friendly neighborhood host and magic keeper here for Magi-Knights. You can find me here every Monday and Wednesday when I run games. You can also find me on All on the Tables content, 2 Saturdays a month where I play games on their channel. This month, on I want to say the 28th, I am playing over on Lost Caravan RPG, playing some Pathfinder. So that's going to be a lot of fun as well. Definitely come and check that out. Well, on behalf of everyone here in the Magi-Knights and everyone in the Random Rhapsody crew, I just want to say thank you, folks. It's been a delight. So long. Good luck. And until next time, may your dreams be infinite.
Nighty-night.
Guys.